Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Honestly, have we come to this? Allowing domestic terrorists to take over a large portion of Seattle, and the police leave their precinct to not have any confrontation? Oh my. Bring in the dogs and the water cannons. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. And we need a patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance, now more so than ever. Good morning. And a good morning to you and yours. I'm Zeb Bell on a Thursday, and what a day outside. Deanne just said, I'm putting on the old straw hat, and I'm going out and working the flower bed. And we sincerely hope you have a wonderful day. We're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with a very safe, clean environment and the best in tires. Along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And, of course, Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, with liberty and justice for all.
We absolutely thank you for calling in, Lorna. It's good to hear from you, and I hope all is well. Thank you. God bless. Have a wonderful day. Thank you much.
And God bless you, too.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, here we go. Thursday edition of Zeb at the Ranch, and we have got a lot of things to cover this morning. First and foremost, I want to say a big shout out and thank you to our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley for literally all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. You know, we're going to start seeing those temperatures stay and hover right at that 80, 85, maybe even low 90s. And you're probably going to turn on the air conditioner and say, oh, I forgot to get the new clean filters for the air conditioning unit. Well, they've got them all of them at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. Number to call. And, of course, they're open 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Calls are welcome and appreciated, but right now we're going to go to the weather, and the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn. And poor old Sean over the station is probably wondering, did you forget the weather? No, I dropped the sheet on the floor, so I had to stutter for a moment until I picked it up. Little small error. It just kind of whoop, 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 and landed on the floor. K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn with Roger and the crew, with the rental of the best tools and equipment, long and short-term rental. And believe me, they've got everything you need. You be sure and call them at 678-3122. K&R Rental, really good folks. And right now, here's the lovely Gina with the weather.
Warmer temperatures for today and tomorrow, then cooling off by the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Expecting sunny skies for today. Winds are going to be picking up out of the east-northeast at about 10 miles an hour. Could gust as high as 20 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 87 tonight, nice and clear with a low of 56. Tomorrow, Mostly sunny. It's going to be the warmest day, high of 91. Mostly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 54. Cooling down for Saturday, still mostly sunny skies. Winds are going to be out of the west, gusts as high as 24 miles an hour with a high of 71. Then by Sunday, 20% chance of showers in the morning, partly sunny by the afternoon, only looking at a high of 64. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebedee.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it, Gina. I'll tell you, if behind the scenes, if you're not watching on ZebBell.com on the computer, and you don't see some of the things that happen, like when I spilled that entire cup of coffee here a couple of weeks ago, and then tipped over the water, and then I had a great big file system right here on the edge of my desk, and adios to that. It went on the floor, and all kinds of fun things. Live radio, I love it. K&R Rental brings you the weather at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Hello, Roger. On the Burley Paul Highway, you can't miss these folks. They are there to serve you with all the power rakes and the rototillers, everything for your lawn and garden needs. 678-3122, K&R Rental. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
And a good morning to you, my young friend.
I love that word, young. Thank you very much.
Yes. You know, I guess I'm upset. I really shouldn't be, but I am, of the way the government is handling things. Like, for instance, people making as much money or even more in some cases for not working. And then on the other hand, people with small businesses are not getting the assistance they should have.
Well, they've had to jump through hoops and rings of fire and everything else to stay solvent and stay in business. And our society is absolutely backed up with nothing but canal water. I absolutely find it appalling that you can stay on unemployment and perhaps make more than what you were getting as a wage, and thus becoming another slob and dependent on government welfare. I find this despicable, and it's got to stop.
And you know one thing? That when you're on this program, you are a sucker. You're sucking the life out of our economy because you're not paying any taxes.
Oh, I thought you meant me on this radio program. Boy, you had me all fired up there for a minute.
Why?
Say something, Keith. Don't just sit there.
Well, you said I had you all fired up, and what?
Yeah, I thought when you said you on this program, I thought you were referring to me. I mean, it was just a misunderstanding, but I absolutely am against welfare recipients staying on the dole when they're healthy. They could get a job, need to get a job, need to be productive in society. There's no excuse for it. If I'm working and as busted up as I am, and I'm going to use myself as an example, if somebody doesn't like it, I don't care. I'm still working at 72 years of age, and I'm not going to quit if I don't have to. I enjoy working, but I've been productive in society, and you get these leeches, 25, 30, 35, whatever the age might be, on the dole, staying home, eating bonbons and watching reruns of Andy and Opie. That's ridiculous.
Yes. Well, I am a champion of meritorious pay. I don't care whether you work at McCain's or you work for the police department. It should be based on performance.
Oh, absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. Keith, I agree. I just think our whole system, as is coming to fruition and light of what happened yesterday, I want to talk about that. Keith, I got to get into it, so I'll talk to you later, and I appreciate your call. Thanks for breaking the ice this morning. Thank you.
You bet.
All right, sir.
Wonderful day.
I'm going to. Thank you. Dino Septic Service, they have a wonderful day every day taking care of problems that you and I don't want to touch, handle, or all of the above. Septic tank pumping, liquid waste removal, sewer and sink drain lines cleaned. Oh my, they do a great job. And backhoe services, water and sewer lines installed. Please, for the best of fast, fair, friendly service, get a hold of our friends at Dino Septic Service, 436-6526 or 678-1638. I'm telling you, with the big truck that says smells cargo on the way, with a big smile on their face. Dino Septic Service. These are wonderful, wonderful people. There is a big sale coming up this Saturday, and I got to find that. I told you I juggled everything over on the floor here a little bit ago. Big sale at the Twin Falls County Fairgrounds in Filer, and I want you to know it's the community auction put on by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. It's going to be this Saturday at 11 o'clock at the Twin Falls County Fairgrounds. Open consignment auction, and they're taking consignments right now on trailers, ATVs, tractors, farm equipment, shops, and tool equipment. Please, no junk. This is a quality sale. Please call Joe Bennett at 539-0111. That number again, 539-0111. Community auction, Twin Falls County Fairgrounds, this Saturday at 11 o'clock. Don't forget, and remember, it's managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. And no sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, yes, sir, they sell them all. Calls are welcome and appreciated, and I'm going to get right into it this morning. The police in Seattle, the police in the Seattle area, they've walked away from a precinct and walked away from protecting a 6-block area in Seattle, and they have let Black Lives Matter take it over, and the law is not anywhere to be seen or found or heard from. Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on in America? This could happen anywhere. Don't think that because it's in a large city, it can't come to a town near you. These complete terrorists, Black Lives Matter and Antifa and others, they will not quit. They will not leave until we bend to their demands, capitulate, and totally turn our lives upside down to suit them. With no cops around, no police in that area, the business owners, this is something I could not believe when I heard this. The business owners within that 6-block radius have been told by these vermin that they have to pay a fee to stay open within that area or else. I don't even know where to go with this. I don't know where to go with this. Something has to be done. There has to be brute force taken against these people. I said in the opening remark, and I'm surprised the phone lines aren't lighting up because, honestly, folks, this is ridiculous. The dogs and the water cannons need to be on duty right now, moving these people off of this 6-block area of Seattle, and whether they go to jail, whether they wash out into the ocean, I don't care. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. It's pretty easy to see what's going on. We have a fear campaign run by the blacks that if you don't cave in to our desires, we're going to make life miserable for you. And until people start standing up, and like that bunch of white sheep that I see out there following these guys around, we're going to have nothing but trouble in this country.
Okay, I'm going to make a definitive statement, though, with you, Tony. And I think you'll understand, and I hope you agree with me. If not, we're going to be at odds. You can't say all-encompassing blacks. That is not fair. It is not correct. There is a portion of the Negro race, and I said that out of respect because that's one of the classifications of mankind, that want disruption, they want total chaos, they want everything their way. But do not denigrate all of them, because we have some absolutely great leadership in the House and the Senate and other areas of our life in the United States that are black people that are really up and aware of what's going on and denounce what's going on with the rioting and the looting. So I'm going to have to correct you on that.
Well, that's okay. Why are we hearing more from the black leadership than we are?
Well, look at the news media, Tony. For heaven's sakes, they're not going to say anything on CNN or MSNBC, which is going to give any credit to the Trump administration, any credit to conservative thought. They're just going to keep stoking the fire for more of this chaos and anarchy. That's your answer.
This is not going to stop until our country is destroyed.
Well, they're sure fixing to do a good job, as my old buddy down in Texas said. I am absolutely appalled that we're letting these people that represent these chaotic and terrorist organizations, BLM, Black Lives Matter, and Antifa, they've taken over part of a city. And they're telling the people that have businesses there, you want to go to work, you got to pay us a fee. My gosh, Tony, what is going on?
Well, I say this happened with the gangsters.
Yes. Yes.
Pay up or that's it.
You got it right on the head.
How do we stop it?
Well, you're not going to go in and you're not going to marshmallow this situation. I mean, when these people drive the police out of their precinct and the cops leave for fear of confrontation, Tony, it's time to bring in the dogs and the water cannons, and whether I said a moment ago they flush this vermin out into the ocean, I don't care. But something has got to be done.
Well, I see martial law coming, and when that happens, you're going to see warfare in the streets.
Tony, I don't know what to think, but we have got to start getting tougher. Much tougher with these people that are absolutely bent on destroying our Constitution, our society, and our laws. I got to run, buddy. Thank you so much.
Okay, then. Thank you.
God bless you. Caller, hang tough. Please don't go away. I've got to get this in. We've got Sheriff Jay Heward coming on the program at 8:30, and I've got to get some things taken care of. I'll be right with you, I promise. Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair, 635 21st Street in Hebron. It is for sale. It may be the business you're looking for. A great business opportunity. A turnkey business ready for you. Put the key in the lock, turn it on, and you're there. It's your business. All you have to do is call Doug, and he's also going to train the new buyer the business of rebuilding starters and alternator repair, everything. So please call and let him know what your thoughts are at 878-4991. 878-4991. Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair in Hebron, for sale and maybe for you. Quick reminder about our friends over to Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, and then we'll take that call. On June 18th through the 21st, next week on the 18th, on Thursday, we're going to have our lunch bunch there. Now, I hope the weather is good, because they're planning on having an outdoor kind of a summer fun party. Tables and chairs set outside. They're going to have a duck pond where they're going to draw for prizes. Everybody's going to get a Hawaiian lei to wear around their neck and everything. Oh, it's going to be fun. Great food. Nice people at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Yep, it's true. It is America's Diner. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. Do you remember when the Bundys and others occupied the vacant Avery Center?
Absolutely.
The media called them domestic terrorists.
Yeah.
Obama armed federal agents. How come we're not doing that with Seattle?
You know, George, you've served our military, and you've done so much to honor our military over the years. Do you, like me, see all the right values in this country just being flushed down the toilet?
Yeah. We're losing what everybody fought for, Zeb. I feel sorry for our grandkids.
Oh, I do too. Did you listen to some of these demands that these worthless Black Lives Matter and Antifa are asking for and demanding? They're demanding, listen to this, they're demanding socialized medicine. They're demanding free public housing. They're demanding an abolishment of the police and demanding an abolishment of prisons, and they're demanding for segregated hospitals. George! If we meet any one of those demands and keep capitulating, this country's done.
Yeah, if they want all that, let's go to Iraq or Afghanistan.
I would buy part of the ticket money. I promise. I've had enough of this. We've got to come on with a very ruthless and very demanding campaign to stomp out this foolishness.
Zeb, I really feel that if this doesn't stop before too long, you're going to have a revolutionary war. And I really feel it's going to be between the Republicans and Democrats.
Well, and the thing is, when you mention something like that on a talk show, I don't care if it's here or New York City, LA, it doesn't make any difference. They always turn back and look at the host and the callers and, oh, they're a bunch of rednecks and they don't know what they're talking about and everything. George, you can't have a lawless society, whether it's in Burley, Idaho, Twin Falls, Idaho, LA, Chicago. You have to have laws and regulatory means and methods of having a civilized society, and we don't have that right now.
Nope, and Zeb, it all falls back to taking, I feel, the religion out of our life and losing self-respect. We all, some of these, especially Democrats, always hand out freebie stuff, and that's kind of nice if you're on the receiving end. But when that quits, and all hell breaks loose.
Where is the mayor of Seattle? Where is the governor of Washington? I hate to even use the term governor for Jay Inslee. I think he's nothing more than a glorified dog catcher. I just absolutely think that they have put themselves under the desk and they're eating bonbons, waiting for all this cloud of anarchy to pass over. This is ridiculous.
Yep, Zeb, back in the hippie days when they was protesting the Vietnam War, and I hate to see anybody killed, but they shot 7 there at Kent University.
Yeah.
That stopped all that bull crap.
We have to do something, and I just absolutely am worried and afraid for my kids and their kids and all the generations to come, because our country, the greatest country ever on the face of the earth, with the best constitution, the best laws, the best of everything, we're throwing it down the drain right now by letting insurrection and anarchy take over.
That is true, and Zeb, you and I have lived the best part of the United States. We're sure sliding backwards in a hurry.
You got it. George, it's so good to hear from you. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Thanks, Mr.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know. I sat there and watched this last night and listened to it, and I just do not understand how come these domestic terrorists are not moved out now. I don't care if you bring in a bunch of bulldozers and just start at one end of the 6-block area and just go right on through. I don't care if you bring in the dogs. I don't care if you bring in the water cannons. I don't care. People are going to be hurt. People are going to be hurt. This vanilla approach of saying, well, we don't want to do this because we don't want to have any confrontation. Oh, we want to just try to make it a kumbaya to where we can make some chocolate s'mores. We'll build a little fire and we'll talk to them, and I'm sure we can come up with an answer. Baloney. It's not working. Look at the chaos that happened in Minneapolis last night, tearing down and destroying statues. Look at the chaos that happened in Virginia last night. Look at the chaos that happened in Dallas last night. And they're going after a cancel culture of saying that you can't have this, you can't have a statue of Christopher Columbus, you can't even in Dallas, Texas have a statue of the Texas Rangers? I'm going to go to the phone line right now. And I hope and pray this man's ready to go. The Cassia County Sheriff, Jay Heward. Jay, are you there?
Good morning, Zeb. How are you?
I'm mad as hell. Thank you for asking.
Well, I heard that last little bit. It did sound like you were upset about something.
Well, Jay, I am mad, and you should be mad, too. As a county sheriff and a law enforcement officer, this is absolutely despicable what we're allowing to happen in this country.
There are certainly some bad things happening right now, for sure.
Well, I know there's some bad things, but elaborate on that. I mean, good heavens, people are naive and I think absolutely foolish in thinking that some of those problems might not ever happen here. That's not the case.
Well, it's possible. You know, things are always possible that those kinds of things happen here, and we'll just have to wait and deal with it when it happens. I noticed that I think people have the right to peaceably protest, but these riots and demonstrations and burning and looting stores and robbery and burglary, that's not a peaceful protest. That's criminal.
Okay, but Jay, wait a minute. We've been friends for a long time. I've known you for a long time. You are a county sheriff, and that means you have the complete power in your county. I mean, you're the man, and your staff. This has got to stop. What's happening in Seattle and what's happening across this country of armed insurrection, and I say armed because, yes, in this camp up in Seattle, the 6-block area, they've got loaded AK-47s and men patrolling that area, threatening the business owners that if they open up, they have to pay a fee to stay open. Jay, this isn't America, and there's no respect for the police anymore.
I was not aware. I haven't seen that piece on Seattle. I was watching a different news channel about the missing kids over in eastern Idaho, so I'm not familiar with what's going on in Seattle and what you were talking about, the 6-block radius thing or whatever. So,
well, it doesn't make any difference if you're aware or not, Jay. I mean, this situation has happened all across the United States with the looting, the burning, and the rioting. The whole concept was a protest for a black man that absolutely was not treated in a fair manner, and he lost his life because of police that overextended what they should have done in the curtailment of putting the man on the ground, and they took his life. That's it, plain and simple. And those police that did... Pardon me?
That's true, and that was a bad situation and a bad thing that happened.
Absolutely, but you can't make a right out of a wrong by burning, looting, and burning down cities.
No, you can't. We, as a nation, we all need to come together, and I agree with you that all this needs to stop. And I believe that nationwide, that the sheriffs and police chiefs, we've got to hold our people accountable. And if we have, officers or deputies under our control that are racist, that they need to be dealt with, because that's not acceptable.
Absolutely.
On this Black Lives Matter, we all matter. We're all in this together. There's no us and them. There's just all of us together, and we have to come together as a nation.
Okay.
I think law enforcement needs to be colorblind nationwide. It has nothing to do with color. It's going out, enforcing laws, and doing our jobs, doesn't matter who it is.
Well, right there you bring up an excellent point that I want you to elaborate on. You know, the police, in my opinion, and I want you to give me yours, the police have gone into many, many situations for a long time with basically one hand tied behind them. There's so many regulatory means and methods of how they can enforce the law and what they can do and everything else. But now with this situation, with the Black Lives Matter and Antifa and others, are the police going to be hamstrung to where they're going to have to literally kind of color code the way that they enforce the law?
I would hope not, but it sounds like it in some of the big cities, Los Angeles, Indianapolis, Minneapolis, New York City, and all this defund the police. That's not going to help anybody.
Jay,
worse.
What would happen, in your opinion, and of course you've been in law enforcement for a long time, but what would happen with a defunding and a disbanding of the police? I mean, give us from your perspective as a sheriff, you know more than most, what would happen?
We'll have mass chaos. If they defund the police and there's no law enforcement or police to respond, somebody's going to call, dispatch 911 and say somebody's breaking into my home, and there won't be anybody to respond. They'll say, hey, well, call your community leader or your community advocate down the block, your designated community leader or whatever, and it'll be mass chaos. That's just a crazy thought to defund defund the police.
Well, the thing that scares me, though, Jay, and I know you're probably aware of this, there are many Democrats, including that snippy little AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, that's leading the charge to defund and disband the police. And now, as of this morning, there are over almost 30 different cities and municipalities that are voting, along like with Minneapolis, Minnesota, to disband and defund the police. That's got to be kind of a scary thought to you.
It is scary for those people who live in those communities and those cities.
Once they would do something like this, and I know this is a speculative type question, but once the defunding or the disbanding of the police took place, I mean, what then, along with the chaos and the anarchy? I mean, would there be a call for the possible National Guard or the state police to come in? What would people do to protect their homes and property?
I think at that point, I don't think the governor would have much choice. He would have to call in the state police, have to call in the military, because who's going to protect the people if they disband law enforcement?
I'm just appalled that police, and I've been a real supporter of police, whether it's city police, county sheriff's department, state police, whatever. I've got friends in every branch. Why in the world have we allowed, Jay, the disrespect to grow like a cancer?
I don't know. It's pretty bad, though. There are, you bring up Orozco and the Democratic Party. I've spoke to some of those people, and they have the warm and fuzzies, and have said to me, well, why do we need all those guns? Why do we need guns? Why can't we just do away with guns? And I just can't wrap my head around what planet they're on. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
I don't get it.
Jay, what about...
obvious why we need guns, but...
Yeah, absolutely. Jay, last week I had Minidoka County Sheriff Eric Snar on, and both of you gentlemen are very well respected. And I asked him about, it's going to come to a point where people in the rural area, they're going to have their head on a swivel, and they're going to have to really learn how to protect themselves. And I'm sure as the county sheriff, you don't want to see that happen, but what about rural property owners? I mean, this is getting scary.
Well, you have a right to protect your property. Idaho, I think it was about a year ago, the legislature added into the law the piece of legislation law about stand your ground. And if you are doing something lawful and something unlawful happens, you have the right to stand your ground, protect yourself up to and including using deadly force if necessary.
But, Jay, isn't it absolutely ridiculous? In 2020, we're really reverting...
We should be well beyond this. I mean, it's like going back to the 1800s.
Yes.
Where, we're supposed to be modern, but right now it doesn't look very modern, for sure.
I'm really concerned, whether it's Boise, whether it's Twin Falls, Burley, Salt Lake City, it doesn't make any difference. I'm concerned about our population that gets up in the morning and they like to go out and take a jog, or they have a business, a small business they go to, and the elderly just trying to go out and take a walk. I mean, we're looking at situations around the country right now where you have to literally be in prison and lock yourself in your own home. This is not the America I grew up in.
No, I agree. I saw a piece yesterday where some California officers responded to some kind of a disturbance call, and when they pulled into a long driveway, they were ambushed and killed at the entrance. That's terrible.
Okay, but right there, every day a police officer, regardless of where he is, whether it's NYPD or whether it's Cassia County, you people put on the uniform for not much money, and you go out and serve the public and put your life on the line, and yet you are the ones that are assailed as the bad guys. This makes no doggone sense to me whatsoever.
It makes no sense because we go out and we hold people accountable. And if they need to go to jail, they go to jail. If they're drunk, they go to jail. If they've just ripped off the local grocery store, they're probably going to go to jail. We're the people that hold people accountable, and they don't like that.
But where do we restore this and how? Even in our school systems, the police are being denigrated. Kids' cartoon shows, and I'm not making this up, Jay, I've got proof. Kids' cartoon shows like Paw Patrol, a little cartoon show for kids. They denigrate the police. On the show called Sesame Street, with the characters, they denigrate America and the police forces. And now certain toy manufacturers have stopped, as of this morning, making any of their toys that might be a reference to the police. I am so doggone upset about this. Something's got to be done, and it doesn't seem like our senators and congressmen are going to do it.
It does not, for sure. I don't have the answer for that one. That's a difficult question.
Well, it is a difficult question, but Jay, we've got to do something. Somebody's got to jump up and say enough is enough. Because if you allow these vermin, and that's what they are in my terminology, I'll take the blame for it.
I would take that one on for sure.
They've got to be stopped. I mean, I don't care where it is. These people cannot go in and abolish civilized society and demand the rules.
No, I agree.
Well, I want to tell you, I appreciate your...
I don't have the answer on that one. I agree with you, but I don't know where to start, and I don't have the answer, and I wish I did.
Well, all I can say is, Jay, thank you for your service to the community. Thank you for being in law enforcement, and know that you have a person right here that's always going to be behind you and standing up for what you and the sheriff's office represents, and I want to thank you for your time here this morning.
Thanks, Zeb. Always a pleasure to come on your show.
Thank you. Cassia County Sheriff Jay Heward, and I thank him for his time this morning. Thank you very much. You bet. I don't know what to think. I really don't. This cancel culture, I don't even like to use the civilized term culture. These are animals. These are animals. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. Something I didn't bring up earlier, which I wanted to. I haven't grown up where I did. What we've got going on here is similar to the racket that the mob had.
Yeah.
You either make your monthly payments, or there won't be too much protection out there for you.
Yeah, or even worse.
Going on.
I agree with you.
A mob out there that's acting like a bunch of gangsters. Unless you get special organizations out there from federal to break these guys up, nothing's ever going to get done.
I couldn't agree with you more, and this mentality of you better slide some money under the table or your business might not be there tomorrow, this is absolutely not America. Tony, God bless you for calling back. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, sir. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, sir. How do you deal with a bully?
You hit him in the nose.
Exactly. The more you let them get away with, the more they will get away with.
That's right.
And what needs to happen is the politicians that are telling people to step down and step aside and abandon that police department, those citizens in that city should be up in arms and on their doorsteps with pitchforks and demanding them to step down.
Did you see on that tape, you probably did because you watch news like I do, but did you see on the tape of Washington Governor Jay Inslee when he was confronted by a reporter about what's going on in Seattle? He pled ignorance and said he hadn't heard too much about it. My gosh, he's the governor, for Pete's sakes.
Exactly it. And where is all these trouble going on? Who has been in control of the city? What?
Democrats. Let's cut to the chase.
Exactly. They they have enacted their ideas and their thoughts, and it is failing. And if we elect Democrats back in the White House, you can expect this all over the United States, not just in Democrat cities.
You want to hear something, and Doug, I got another call, and I want to make sure I get everybody in this hour, but you want to hear something that was absolutely repulsive to me, even though it's on a smaller scale? Did you hear about NPR, National Public Radio? Do you know what they said yesterday? They came out and issued a statement that all of us, now listen to this, I'm not making this up, all of us should go to our bookshelves in our homes and throw away any book that seems racist.
Exactly.
This is nuts.
What did they do when Nazis took over Germany?
You got it. Book burning.
I've got a copy of Tom Sawyer sitting right here on my counter.
Leave it there.
And I dare somebody to come in and tell me I need to get rid of that or try to get rid of it for me.
There you go. Doug, I got another call. I've got to take everybody and be fair, so thank you very much.
Okay, everybody, let's do what we can for our senior centers. God bless.
Thank you, Doug. Caller number 2, before I do the weather, I'll take your call. I'm sorry you had to wait. Go ahead.
Yeah, Zeb, you asked that sheriff what would happen if the funding is taken away from the cops, and he said that they would call in the state's troopers. Does he not realize that that's given his authority away? Sheriffs, counties have got more authority than what the state troopers do.
That's exactly what I said that. I said that in the interview with him. I said the sheriff is I didn't use these exact words, but I said you're the powerful source. And basically, the feds can't move or do anything until the sheriff gives the okay. And a lot of people don't realize that.
That's right, they don't. And if that's why they're defunding the police department, so that they can have a federal law enforcement. And that's exactly why they're doing that. We need to watch what we're doing, because we're going to be under federal law enforcement, just like the DOT out here.
Absolutely. It could happen, sir. Thank you. God bless you, man. Thanks. Caller, again, I'll take your call before the weather, and I heard a dial tone. Are they there, or did they go have a cup of coffee? I think they're gone.
I'm here.
Oh, you're here. I'm sorry. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Yeah, I heard that dial tone, too. When I was on the University of Oregon campus in 1970, the Kent State situation happened, and the rioting escalated. It was a terrible, on top of the fact that the administration decided they really didn't need to discipline college students. And they took advantage of it. Let me tell you, college students are not always adults, because they're leaving home for the first time, and they really go for it.
Amen.
They go for their freedom. Now, the next year, the university stamped down, and they said, if you want to do this, you will do it this way, and you will not do it against our rules. And would you believe that year was not...
Go ahead, Linda. I think something interfered with the call there, just briefly. Go ahead.
It doesn't look at all like what you described. He said the people are dressed better, if they look professional, and they could be dressed casually, but they weren't dressed like hippies.
Yeah.
He said it looks a ton better. And so they turned that campus around.
Yes, they did.
And that's a good university. I hated to see it go where it did. But because they thought nobody needed rules, it was a terrible mess.
And
they fixed the rules and said you will obey them, things turned around.
Absolutely. Linda, I'm running so late, I don't want to seem ever rude to you, but I've got to run and I've got a call waiting. God bless you. Thank you. Caller number 2, please bear with me. I've got to get a forecast in here. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble. The weather forecast, stay on the line. I'll be right there. The weather forecast brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and the number to call for a hearing screening, very important, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Warmer temperatures for today and tomorrow, then cooling off by the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Expecting sunny skies for today. Winds are going to be picking up out of the east-northeast at about 10 miles an hour. Could gust as high as 20 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 87 tonight, nice and clear with a low of 56. Tomorrow, Mostly sunny. It's going to be the warmest day, high of 91. Mostly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 54. Cooling down for Saturday, still mostly sunny skies. Winds are going to be out of the west, gusts as high as 24 miles an hour with a high of 71. Then by Sunday, 20% chance of showers in the morning, partly sunny by the afternoon, only looking at a high of 64. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. I appreciate it. And brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with Dr. Christine Pickup and her staff. Excellent people with expert diagnostic testing combined with the best technology to help your hearing health. Make an appointment today, 312-0957. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you.
Yes. If the governor of Seattle doesn't do something real soon, like calling the National Guard, I think he should be in line for impeachment, because this is going to do nothing but get worse. We have to have enforcement, whether it be the local police or the National Guard.
Well, you said the governor, Keith, you said the governor of Seattle. I think you meant the mayor, and working with the governor of Washington, they have to stop this now.
No, but the governor of Washington is the commander of the National Guard.
I know that. But you said the governor of Seattle, and it's the mayor of Seattle that you meant, I'm sure.
Well, thank you for correcting me, because that's the first mistake I've ever made.
Well, God bless you.
Anyway, and then when you go to Minneapolis, 100,000 of people from Somalia, 100,000 of them, they want Sharia law.
I realize that.
This is going to get a lot worse.
It is if they don't stop it. I mean, on the Andy Griffith Show, Barney Fife always used to say, "We've got to nip it in the bud. We've got to nip it in the bud." Well, now in a very serious fashion, we have got to nip this in the bud right now. Keith, thank you so much. Appreciate it. God bless you.
Where's your Barney when we need him?
Yeah, with the one bullet in his pocket. Yeah. Thanks.
Wouldn't you feel safe if we had Barney with one bullet?
Not at all.
Straighten this out?
Oh, thanks, Keith. Appreciate your call. Sean, did we have another call waiting? I couldn't remember how many moves of the cow we've had. I guess there may be another caller on the line. While I'm waiting quickly to find out if there's another call, I want to remind you, too, about Berry Equipment and Rental Sales, Service, and Parts. Oh, these people do a great job. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with Corey and the crew. 465 Adams Avenue West in Twin with Eli and the Nampa location. For all the equipment you need for the lift and digging, push and carrying, everything. They've got all the Bobcats. They've got all the trenchers, the scissor lifts, and of course, the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators, all with great financing programs and lease programs. Check it out today at Berry Equipment and Rental, Burley, Twin Falls, and Napa. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
There's no one on the air.
Oh, I thought see, that shows the old age. I thought I heard another cow. I'm sorry about that.
No, I was getting confused there, too. I haven't fielded that many phone calls in a long time.
All right, thanks, Sean. Appreciate it. Calls are welcome, 436. I got time for one more call, 2244. And what's going on in this country is the cancel culture. They even canceled Gone with the Wind. I am not making this up. There was huge pressure yesterday on HBO and television enterprises to stop the playing of the movie Gone with the Wind. They say it's going to be a short term, and then they're going to come back and they're going to give warnings on the film and different contextual things they're going to say before you watch the film. We're not kids. We're adults. And we can't pick and choose what we want to see. Gone with the Wind is absolutely one of the greatest films ever made. And then they canceled the TV series, 33 years on television, they canceled the TV series Cops. And then the toy manufacturers I mentioned just a little bit ago, Legos banned yesterday the processing and manufacturing of any of their little toys that might depict a policeman in uniform. What is going on? You know, we sit back and we say, oh, gee, somebody better do something. You're that something. And that someone. I just never in my life thought that I would see America teetering on the brink like it is right now, and the left about ready to take over. We're going to take a break and let the big boys from CBS come in and mess everything up again. And at 9:06, Minnecasia Chamber report with Penny, and then 9:17, Nick Greenwell. Hope you have a better day. Good morning, Zeb at the Ranch. I'll be back in 7. Insane. Absolutely insane. Moral values and what's fair to real women is at stake, and I'm going to fight that all I can. I mean, absolutely, the transgender issue, getting involved in women's sports is absolutely sick and perverted. Morning, everybody. Back in the saddle for hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a safe, clean environment and the best in tires, along with Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And, of course, Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. All right, now I want to remind you about our dear friends, Joel Heward, family, and staff over at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Yes, I'm going to give you the number right now because it's a number you need to have and remember, 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. They are there to serve you and your family when there's the passing of a loved one, and always with the best possible support and comfort. Hanson Mortuary, with the highest ethical standards and unquestioned integrity. Please, the number, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morris and Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Wow, next week is going to be a fun week on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but we're really going to get out there and have fun with the Lunch Bunch next Thursday on the 18th with all the fun times for summer at Denny's Restaurant. Woo, baby, 611 North Overland in Burley. Hopefully the weather's going to be good. They're going to be setting up tables and chairs outside. They're going to have a great big duck pond where you can draw for a prize. They're going to have all kinds of fun outside. Oh, great food. Super nice people. Come on, everybody. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, June 18th through the 21st for a kind of a tribute to summer. And, of course, Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Right now, we are going to take a little time and go over to the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, and a lovely lady that is the CEO and president of the Chamber of Commerce, and that's Penny Main. Good morning, Penny. How are you?
Good morning, my friend. How are you doing?
Hanging in, hanging on, just like the cat at the end of the rope.
Hey, it's a great day to be in business in Minnecasia. I'm just looking out my office window right now, and the Snake River looks like glass, and it's going to be a beautiful couple of days, and I think we're all ready for that, right?
You know,
that sounds like fun over at Denny's. That Thomas Peterson knows how to party, doesn't he?
Well, and I'm going to ask you to come on down and be a part of it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That will be we will definitely stop by. That sounds like an absolute blast. Good for you guys. I think that's going to be fun. Hey, we're gearing up over here. We finally got our doors open. You know, we were closed for about 10 weeks, and so it's been delightful to kind of have our doors open and be ready to do business. So things are looking up. Travel is expected is not as steady or as quick as we thought, but we anticipate that people will start breaking loose and traveling a bit. So we've seen some people from out of the area the last couple of weeks, and so things are looking up over here. Couple of things. We're going to start re-upping our monthly chamber luncheons, which we had so much fun doing until COVID hit, and also our business after hours events. And we're getting ready. Our first meeting's Monday morning. Jen Cutler at D. Evans Bank is the chair of our golf scramble this year, and we're so grateful for that. But our big golf scramble comes September 2nd, and so we need all the help we can get. That's for darn sure. That's our biggest fundraiser of the year, and we had to delay it by almost 4 months because of COVID-19, so we could use your help, and we can't wait. Hopefully at some point today as well, we'll hear from, either today or tomorrow, we'll hear from the governor to see if we move forward to stage 4, so we're hoping on that. A couple of other things real quickly. The Minidoka Minidoka Historical Society Museum, let me get that right, had opened up. However, they made a determination they thought it was wise due to the character of their business and some of the things they're doing over there with regard to remodeling and some of the age factors as well of many of their volunteers. They decided to remain closed for right now, and we're hoping that they can get geared back up here in the next month or so. So just an update on that. A couple of other things. If you want to win $600, this is a way to do it. Head to VFW Saturday night. Their doors open at 4 o'clock, and they've got a great game of bingo going on every Saturday night. All the proceeds from that event, by the way, does benefit our local veterans in the area. And I know you're aware of this, Zeb, but we've got a lot of veterans in the area that are really meeting some challenges and have some special needs, and we want to take care of them, right?
Absolutely.
So this is a good way to do that. Spend a little money at the VFW Saturday night and help our local vets now more than ever.
Absolutely.
And then if you want to just get away for the evening, I think this is a great idea. The Burley Best Western Inn and Perkins are now offering poolside and patio food and beverage services Monday through Saturday from 5 to 10 p.m. Their backyard is absolutely beautiful over by the pool. Oh, my goodness, I was over there at a meeting early yesterday morning, and they've done a tremendous job remodeling and restructuring their back property behind the hotel. It's absolutely gorgeous. So that'd be fun to just kind of hang out by the pool and have a little bite to eat anytime Monday through Saturday from 5 to 10. Anyway, the bottom line is this. Through all of that, we are here. We're working for you, and we're going to help move this economy again, and we can't wait for that to happen. Things are actually looking up, and I am so grateful for that, and I praise God for that. So things are looking up. If you'd like to join the Chamber of Commerce, we would love to have you. We can connect you to other members. We can connect you to other communities, and we'd love to be able to do that. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and like us on Facebook. We also have lots of things going on Facebook. Check out our website, minicashchamber.com, or you can just pick up the old-fashioned phone and give us a call, 208-679-4793.
Are you done?
So, I'm finished.
You know, when I get you on the air, and I mean this with all due respect, I get you on the air, it's kind of like putting a record on a record player, the old times, you know, and turning it on 78 and sit back and get out of the way.
Well, you know, you're just, I have a mission, right? And so, and I know that your time is valuable, so I try to get as much information in as I can in a brief amount of time. So
I'm absolutely afraid, sitting on this end of the microphone, I absolutely sit in fear that if I say something to interrupt you, it would be like trying to jump into a moving herd of buffalo and trying to stop them.
It would be like a cat on a hot tin roof.
You got it. But, you know, we always end the segment by asking you a trivia question, to which
of course we do. I'm thinking positive today.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you another softball, really. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Here we go. In the 60s, do you remember the television series that was widely acclaimed at that time called I Spy?
Yes.
Okay. Who were the two lead actors?
One was, if I can pronounce his name correctly, right?
Yes.
Ilya Kuryakin was one of them?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. I Spy.
That doesn't count.
Can I call a friend?
Pardon me?
Can I phone a friend? Can I
Well, I'll take it as a loss today because I do have certain time constraints, but I Spy was geared all around a tennis player who was played by Bill Cosby and his manager, Robert Cope.
Oh, my gosh. I totally forgot all of that. Well, at any rate, I was busy in the 60s.
Well, I'm glad you took a break. Here, though, that it's 2020.
Anything from the 60s or the 70s anymore. I was just a busy girl.
Okay.
Have a great day.
God bless you, Penny. Thank you so much. Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, CEO and President Penny Main. Talk to you later. Thank you.
You too, Fred. Bye.
All right, take care. I was busy in the 60s. I like that answer. Oh, my goodness. In just a minute, we're going to talk to Nick Greenwell over at Burley Physical Therapy and also Elite Fitness. So stand by for that. But I want to remind you, too, about our friends over to Let's Ride. Let's Ride. This weekend, let's ride. Vroom, vroom. Start them up. Let's go. Side-by-sides and four-wheelers. Stop in to see the showroom that is just chock full over at Let's Ride. I do not know how they got everything in there. They're located at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. The number to call, 436-4771. New hours at Let's Ride, Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 2. And don't forget, along with all the side-by-sides and the four-wheelers, they've got all the accessories and a super service department to keep you running. Absolutely. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and it is true. This is where the fun is sold at Let's Ride. Let's also mention, too, in that area, some really, really good folks over at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Yeah, buddy, let me tell you. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all for you, your family, and your business. And I mean, Todd and the crew, they are dedicated to service. My goodness, they really care, and they're devoted to serving you. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. All you need to do, pick up the phone and dial the number, make an appointment, 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Don't put it off. You call them, 436-4424, Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Let us go to the phone line and talk to the man. Here he is, Nick Greenwell at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation and Elite Fitness. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Not bad. And I think I just need to ask you, with now here we are almost in the middle of June, how are things shaping up for you with Burley PT and Elite Fitness?
You know, we couldn't ask for anything better. You know, everybody went into this COVID thing with uncertainty, and, you know, everyone kind of rolled with the punches, and we did what we needed to do to get through. And I tell you what, everything's coming back. Office is getting busy again. They're doing surgeries again, and people are flooding to the gym to get out of the house and get back in shape after putting on the COVID-19 pounds that we all put on. And life is good.
Let me ask you something and see if you agree with me or not. And I'm probably way out of whack here with the medical field, but I honestly believe this. I believe that activity, I believe that exercise, I believe that doing things, whether you're out jogging, walking, or riding a horse, whatever the case might be, are a stimulus to keep you healthy even through a coronavirus scare.
Absolutely, and not only physically, Zeb, mentally. You know, it produces endorphins, and we see all kinds of mental health-related problems when we go through crisis like this, where people are cooped up, and there's uncertainty, and there's, you know, disease and all this stuff. I tell you what, if you've looked at the trends, you see that anti-anxiety medication and antidepressants and all those medications have doubled in the last, 4 or 5 months because of all of this. And so absolutely, getting out and moving, whether it's at your house or at the gym or, like you say, taking the dogs for a walk or going out and playing with your grandkids. It just gets the body moving, lubricates the joints, and produces endorphins, and it's just a healthy thing.
That's why, and Nick, I'm going to be very blunt, I could not understand, nor did I appreciate or respect the closure of like gyms, like Elite Fitness during the pandemic, because of the fact that I consider that to be absolutely essential to one's health.
You bet. Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, I was thinking that it was going to kind of come back really slow once we open the doors, but people are ready. That place has been busy. We've made a lot of changes. They're certainly appreciative of the cleanliness and the new paint, and we just opened a daycare down there, so they're bringing their kids. People are coming to take an exercise class or something and bringing their kids, and anyway, it's been a good thing. So the closure was rough, but we did take full use of that time being closed and really upgraded things, added classes, all kinds of fun stuff.
I want to reiterate right here, folks, that Nick Greenwell owns both businesses, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation and Elite Fitness, of which we're talking about right now at 1200 Oakley Avenue in Burley. After the show last week, Nick, I had a call, and it was a gentleman. He said he was, I think he said he was 76, but very, very active, plays golf and does all kinds of things. And he said to set up a program for himself to maintain his physical abilities, how did they go about doing that? And I said, you know what, I'm going to have Nick answer that on the air.
You know what, you can give us a call at either facility. We can do that at both locations. In fact, I opened an office, a physical therapy office down at Elite this week as well. So I'm actually seeing physical therapy patients one-on-one in both locations now. But yeah, just give us a call at either location and schedule a consult, and we'll get you in if we feel like it's something that we need to get medical clearance for. If you've had a history of cardiovascular issues or things like that we might need to just get a double check on before we start pushing you too hard, we can do that, and we'll do that for you if you'll just let us know who your physician is. And then pop by, and we'll get you set up. We'll sit down and kind of talk about what your goals are, maybe where your fitness level is now, and if you've had a history of any kind of issues that we need to be concerned of. And then just set up an individualized program for you, whether it's at home or over at the gym, or if you want to come in here or go down to the pool or whatever. We'll work hand in hand to get something set up for you that hopefully will keep you on the straight and narrow and keep you healthy for a long time.
And one of the things you just mentioned, I'd like you to elaborate on, because it was a big asset to me in my recouping from my surgery on my knee and my hip, and that's the hydrotherapy pool. I believe that it's the only one of its kind in all of this area. Am I right?
It is, yeah. It's very unique to the area, and boy, we use it a lot. And we use it for a large variety of things, whether it's someone with arthritic joints and arthritis in their spine or whatever, and they can't tolerate being on land, so we use the buoyancy effect and take about 75% of your weight off of those joints to allow us to stimulate muscles and lubricate joints and do all that kind of stuff without nerve compression or pain. Or whether maybe we need to take some weight off of something. Maybe someone's had surgery and they're only allowed to put 30% of their weight down on that leg while they're healing. We can speed the process up and get you weight bearing earlier at a lower percentage in there and kind of take about a month off the end of your rehab time.
Well, I tell you what, the absolute professionalism that you display along with all the other folks over there, the physical therapists, in helping people regroup everything and kind of recoup from a surgery or an accident. And here we are in the summertime. People are out enjoying, but boy, school's right around the corner, and I'm sure you're going to be busy.
Yeah, we kind of go through periods of peaks and valleys in a business like this, depending on, a lot of it really depends on the weather and school timing, right? When the weather all of a sudden turns warm and everybody gets outside and gets more active, we see a few injuries from that because we haven't been moving as much in the winter and things are stoved up a little bit, and same thing in the fall, when the weather changes and it gets cold and we see that first freeze and a little bit of ice and people are having slips and falls and car wrecks and things like that. And so we do see that, but you're right. With our sports seasons coming up, our high schools, our football players and volleyball players and dancers and cheerleaders and everybody are kind of hitting it hard in the fall, and we see a big influx of sprains and strains and twisted ankles and all kinds of things like that. So,
wouldn't you say, Nick, wouldn't you say and agree that maybe people are looking at this thing in the reverse order? Maybe they should be looking at the summertime to get physically fit and make sure they keep up on their balance or problems with their balance in the summertime to prepare for the ice and the snow and all the yuck in the wintertime.
Absolutely. Prevention is definitely the key. And, sometimes people think of physical therapy as just like you said, the afterthought. That's where I go to take care of these injuries and whatnot. But we're starting to see, especially with our millennials, that they're being more proactive and trying to figure out ways to stay in shape to prevent those injuries. And, an adage is, we don't play sports to get in shape. We get in shape to play sports.
Yeah.
And so we've got to be prepared to do that, whether it's playing with little Johnny in the backyard or taking that hiking trip with your wife or, whatever it is. Just be prepared, and it's always a good thing.
Now, while we have the time, I want you to really elaborate on Elite Fitness at 1200 Oakley Avenue in Burley, how they can become a member, how they can use the facilities, and what hours you're open, and then do the same for Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation.
Sure, absolutely. So over at Elite, it's a 24-hour facility, and so once you get signed up, you get an electronic key, and you can come and go as you please. There's a fob outside the door. You swipe it. It counts your visit, and you go in and do your thing. And, of course, on your initial visit, we'll show you around the facility, and you can kind of pick and choose what things you want to do. And 678-2155 is the number over there. We're on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. We'll set you up with a session with our personal trainer and our nutrition specialist for free. When you come over, you get a month for free. And if you sign up by the end of June, we're also going to wipe away all of the administrative fees that are associated with that membership. So now's the time. We have a ton of group fitness classes now. We just started our Silver Unfit class again. That's Thursdays right now at 10:15, and we're going to add another day, and that's for folks that maybe want to get in shape but don't feel like they can do a lot of heavy lifting or high impact things. And so we have an instructor that's certified in doing those. And that class is getting bigger. We see a lot of senior citizens taking that class. And we also have a bunch of new mixed martial arts and boxing classes of all things. And those are in the evening. People are losing a lot of weight doing those things. In fact, two of our professional fighters that train there are actually fighting next week in Las Vegas at the MGM on Thursday, the 18th, at 5 o'clock on ESPN. So if you want to tune in and kind of root on our local guys, that'll be kind of fun. Clay Collard and Justin Horsley both have professional fights against undefeated opponents. So we're excited about that. We're going to have a little viewing party and root on our local elite guys. But aside from that, tons of group fitness stuff, step stuff, yoga stuff, a little bit for everybody. And again, we did open our daycare. So daycare will be open, I think, 3 hours in the morning and 3 in the evening for our group fitness times. But overall, we're excited about it. People are flooding to the facility, and we've got a lot to offer. So come and check us out for a free tour. And again, if you sign up by the end of June, you get a huge discount.
I tell you what.
Early PT, we're open from between 7 and 8, depending on the day. Again, we've kind of narrowed our hours just a little bit, but we're catching up. And then we stay open until 5 or 6 in the evening, depending on what people need. And we do everything from A to Z here. Like I say, we can set up preventive maintenance kind of programs for folks that just want to come in and get an idea of what's safe and what to do. To taking care of acute injuries and chronic things, post-surgical stuff. We have the pool to offer. We also have a new certified hand therapist here that's doing a lot of good things for us. We have a massage therapist, and we can take care of orthotics and prosthetic management here as well. So kind of a full-service stop from A to Z. And our number over here is 678-1191. And between the two facilities, Burley PT and Elite, we're excited to be partnering and be able to offer a lifetime of health.
I'm telling you, you did a great job. Nick Greenwell with Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation and Elite Fitness in Burley. Thank you so much, Nick. God bless. Talk to you next week. Appreciate it.
Take care, Zeb. Thanks.
All righty, there you go. Sharp young man, let me tell you. I know the family and have known the family for years and years. By the way, if you're not aware, Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair is for sale. What? Yep, lock, stock, and barrel. It's a turnkey business opportunity for you. That's right, beautiful shop and all the equipment, everything at 635 21st Street in Heyburn. All you need to do is pick up the phone and dial 878-4991. 878-4991. Talk to Doug. He'll tell you all about it. And as a matter of fact, he will even train the new buyer of the business of rebuilding starters and alternators, etc. Hey, don't put this off. Call today at 878-4991. Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair, 635 21st Street in Heyburn. It's for sale, and it may be for you. You better check it out today. One other note quickly that I want to remind you of before I get my next guest on the phone, pardon me, is that there's going to be a great big community sale, and that's coming up at the Twin Falls County Fairgrounds this Saturday in Filer. Now, here we go, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. They're going to have an open consignment auction. As a matter of fact, they're taking items today, tomorrow, and Friday, and they're taking items like cars, pickups, trailers, ATVs, tractors, farm items, lawn and garden items. No junk. No junk. And for more information, call Joe Bennett at 539-0111. Joe Bennett at 539-0111. Community auction at 11 o'clock this Saturday at the Twin Falls County Fairgrounds, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys. Yes, sirree, Bobby. They sell them all. Okay, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and I absolutely think the world...
I'm having a problem getting a hold of her. It just keeps going to her voicemail.
Well, Sean, if you keep trying that, I'll have Deanne try with the booking agent, and we'll see if we can't do it. If you keep trying, I'd appreciate it. Kathy Barnett is supposed to be on our program this morning, and Deanne, if you'd come in, I believe she's still out in the other room, and we'll try to get a hold of Kathy Barnett. But if not, somebody out there in Radio Land, give me a call, and we would love to visit with you at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Deanne, if you could try to get a hold of our dear friend, and that's Kathy Barnett. She's been with us on the program numerous times. I'd sure appreciate that. Calls are welcome. Give me a jingle. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Some of the other stories that are in the news this morning, and I really do hate to even talk about this story. It is so despicable. And it's the Lori Vallow, the death of her children, and what happened, what didn't happen. They believe the remains of the two children up in Rexburg at Chad Daybell's residence, little farm outside of town. And all of this with some very sick, perverted adults. I can think of the news interviews and some of the news stories about the little boy they called JJ and his older sister and the love that was there between them. And now thinking that some adult, just to do away with them, dispose of them, killed them and buried them in a lawn area right there on the property. And you wonder sometimes how despicable and how low can humanity go? We're not knowing all the particulars right now, and I'm sure it's all going to come out shortly, but they put, Chad Daybell on over $1 million bond, and everything is just starting to formulate with the police and the search and the investigators and everything. And the Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow had said, the children are okay, they're staying with relatives and friends, none of which was true, evidently. And I guess simply put, my thoughts and my prayers go to those two children that now are probably up in heaven with God, I hope. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Well, let me tell you, the two of the dumbest men in America are the police officer in Minnesota who killed this guy and Chad Daybell. I mean, if you seriously wanted to get away with it, you wouldn't bury him in your own yard, because if without a body there's no proof. I mean, these people are deranged. And you say to yourself, how would you get to a point where you were deranged? Chad Daybell's wife died just in her sleep at 49 years old, just before, not that, much time had passed before he got married to her, Lori Vallow. And I seen her at the arraignment, and she was more worried about how her hair looked and her lipstick than she had any kind of remorse. I don't know if it says in the scriptures about people being dead. They have no souls. And I tell you, Zeb, you say to yourself, how is it that a person gets to the point where they would do this for whatever the reason?
Yeah, but
you just can't even.
Well, wait a minute, Randy, just a second.
Publicity for Idaho is just great.
Hang on just a second. It was said that little JJ had some slow problems that he needed to overcome, and the big sister was always there to help him and nurture him, etc. But I'm like you. I can't fathom how all of a sudden a mother, and I don't care who the other adult was involved, could stoop to this low level of not caring about life and humanity, and in some way, some perverse way, killing 2 young children and burying them in the yard. And you said it very succinctly the other day when you called me. And then going into that house and sleeping at night. Where is any kind of a conscience whatsoever?
Well, I mean, this guy was just going around town he was going to Ace Hardware and shopping. I mean, this guy was, see, we do not know how mentally ill they are. We do not know just how evil, I don't know. Are you possessed? Are you possessed? Is your mind deranged? How do you get to this place? And when you'll do anything for attention, Lori Vallow, if you've watched her, she's always, hell, they were honeymooning in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Walking around in shorts and short sleeves and smiling, and people were trying to talk to them about what was going on, and they ate the attention for breakfast. In the meantime, those children are laying in his acreage, dead.
Randy.
Burn pit?
Well, Randy, wait a minute. We can't make any allegations or suppositions until we get all the hard, very cruel facts, and all the cases all the points of this case are brought forward, etc. And I know you're aware of that. But to look at the chilling aspect of these 2 children that supposedly were killed and buried way last fall in September, and then for the perpetration of the lies to the media and to the police, and the smiles and the holding arms, walking off a plane in Hawaii to enjoy a vacation. I cannot fathom this. There's something wrong here that evidently I can't grasp, how a human being can let their children be rotting in a grave and they're out having a good time, and they were the ones that caused the death.
Well, of course they are. And so, yes, JJ, the 7-year-old, was adopted. So you went to the trouble of adopting him, and then you turn around and do this? And she thinks she's going to blame it on Chad?
Yeah. I don't know, Randy, but we're living in a very sick, perverse time, and for those that might be offended by my following statement, so be it. It's about time that we really looked in the mirror, looked back over our shoulder, and said, God, we're sorry. We've got to get back to what you and the Bible says, because we are in trouble.
We are, and see, some people might find it hard to believe, but repentance is a daily routine for me. I mean, all day, because I'm such a, wound up individual. You get upset, you may say things, you think things. I can't, I don't want to risk that. I can't afford it. I got too much on the line with my children and my family. and our country.
Absolutely. And right now, that last word, country, is under siege. What's happening in Seattle, what happened all across our nation last night with the burning and the crushing and destroying of various statues that represent our history. And then, of course, the cancel culture saying the idiocy of stop the movie Gone with the Wind from being seen, stop certain books, National Public Radio saying that we should all go to our bookshelves and throw away any books that might seem racist. Randy, this is nuts.
It is. Well, it's like book burning, and you know, when speaking of elected officials that marched, Mitt Romney was marching with Black Lives Matter.
Don't get me started on Mitt Romney. Don't get me started on Mitt Romney. Don't get me started on how much this man has absolutely just made himself out to be holier than thou, when really all he's doing is just being nothing but a troublemaker and an instigator.
Oh yeah, I just, you say to yourself, when the truth is revealed, in other words, how the governors feel, how the left wants to destroy America, to destroy Trump. They're willing to destroy everything to get rid of Trump. And you say, the truth is there. Will you see it? If Christ came today, who would know it?
Well, I think believers would...
Who would recognize him?
Believers would know it in a heartbeat because of the way that he is supposed to come back. But I'm going to tell you something, Randy. We have every opportunity right now to clean up this mess. We are told in the Bible not to just accept things. We're told to keep living every day and do our best. Right now, we have governors, we have mayors, we have others involved in politics, senators and congressmen that are not doing their best, and we need to hold their feet to the fire right now.
Well, see, that's the thing. When truth is no longer truth, and right is no longer right, and it's a land of confusion.
Amen. And Randy, I appreciate your call, always, and thank you very much for the time you spent this morning. I appreciate it. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Looks like Kathy I'm going to ask Sean. Sean, did you have any luck on that one number? Deanne tried here, too.
No, actually, someone did call, though. It might have been her husband.
Okay, well, and she's not available. I can barely hear you, Sean, so turn your mic up a little bit. You're not coming through hardly at all.
Anyway, I talked to her husband. She's supposed to be calling back on the 436 number.
Okay.
And they haven't called back yet, so
all right.
I'm just waiting.
I appreciate it, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What do you think, honestly, of this cancel culture? Folks out there, think about this. NPR Radio, National Public Radio, says that we need to purge our bookshelves. We need to go to those bookshelves and we need to find every book that might be racist, all the way from Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, you name it. We got to throw them away. Why, we can't have those. And for the toys for our kids, why, they can't play with a policeman toy. It has to be stopped, has to be thrown away. Why, you can't watch the movie, one of the greatest films ever, Gone with the Wind. Nope, can't watch that. We won't let you. We're going to take it off the air. We're going to take it off so that you can't rent the movie, etc. for right now. No. We're going to stop the 33-year TV series Cops, and they're not going to allow Lego Company to make any Legos with the little figurines of the police. What kind of a society are we living in? This is absolutely nuts. And NASCAR is banning any sign of the Confederate flag? Now, there are those of you that when I take my stand on this, you probably won't agree. But if we're going to allow freedom of speech in this country, the First Amendment in this country, And the Confederate flag is a very major part of the southern states and family heritages for over 175 years, and yet will allow the Muslim flags or the ISIS flags or the Black Lives Matter flags anywhere and everywhere. We're being very discriminatory as we try to purge America of the supposedly ills that we've had for the last 270-some years. And our freedoms are going into the trash barrel. No, you can't read this book. No, you can't watch this movie. No, little Johnny and Susie, you can't play with that toy. What is going on in America, and what are we going to do to try to change it back to where it should be? Calls welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I've never seen anything like this, ever, in my life. I mean, when I sat there and watched TV last night and they were taking down the statues of Christopher Columbus, there were riotous mobs there with sledgehammers and knives, and they were creating fires. And this is in Minneapolis, and it's in Virginia, and then down in Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas! The home of the Texas Rangers. And now they're painting them with a brush of, oh, well, they had a checkered past, and we don't want anything to do with them, so we're going to get rid of the Texas Rangers. My goodness. And I'll bet you some money right here that the television program called Walker, Texas Ranger, I would be willing to bet you that in a very short order, they're going to go after that TV series, the reruns of that TV series, and try and stop it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. I'll put my 2 cents in on this thing. I think where the problem's at, the older generation like you and I are dying out, and we've got a programmed bunch of children that are coming out of these schools that are being run by socialists. This is where the problem's at. When the rest of us die out, who's going to be there to take the place of the patriotic people that went to war, fight, protect this country and our cities and everything else?
I can't answer that question because I don't know who's going to step up. I don't know. I worry about that. Deanna and I talked about that last night after supper. Who's going to step up? Who's going to carry the banner of the Constitution and the laws and the greatness of this country? Who? I don't know.
Well, I think the first thing we got to do is clean up our schools of these socialists and communists that are programming the brains of the younger generation that's coming up. That's where our problem's at.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
From the home.
Yeah. Whether it's in the school system from kindergarten all the way through the university classes or whatever, our education system is bent way far to the left. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be mentioning that same premise of what's going on to Debbie Critchfield next hour and see what her responses are. Tony, again, I thank you for your call. God bless you for all your involvement. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Zeb.
Thank you, sir. I'll do a weather forecast, then I'll take some more calls. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Our weather is brought to you by the professionals, and I mean Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. The professionals in accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. They know, they can help you, and they will. Please remember the best of tax return preparation. I'll be with you in a minute, caller. Stand by. Tax planning, financial statement preparation, retirement planning, all of this and so much more with offices to serve you in Burley and Rupert. The professionals, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gino with the weather.
Warmer temperatures for today and tomorrow, then cooling off by the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Expecting sunny skies for today. Winds are going to be picking up out of the east-northeast at about 10 miles an hour. Could gust as high as 20 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 87 tonight, nice and clear with a low of 56. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. It's going to be the warmest day, high of 91. Mostly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 54. Cooling down for Saturday, still mostly sunny skies. Winds are going to be out of the west, gusts as high as 24 miles an hour with a high of 71. Then by Sunday, 20% chance of showers in the morning, partly sunny by the afternoon, only looking at a high of 64. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebedee.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you. And brought to you by the professionals, Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. With the best of accounting services to you, your family, and your business. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. When they start banning cartoons like the Paw Patrol because it shows police in a good light,
Mm-hmm.
you know that it's got to be a mental illness.
Doug, I don't remember ever in my lifetime, and I'm older than you, but I've never seen anything of a knee-jerk reaction to a complete negativity to our police and law enforcement like we are right now.
Exactly, and like I said the other day, it was drilled in our heads that we could not hold it against all Muslims for the act of a few on 9/11.
Yes.
So why are we holding all of the police responsible for the actions of just a few recently?
Let me ask you this, and I, of course, sitting behind this microphone for the last almost 3 hours, got a little feedback there, Sean, if you could. I haven't had a chance to catch up and follow any of the new happenings up in Seattle, but what would you do today, right now, this minute, if you were the mayor of Seattle, Washington, to purge that 6-block area of Seattle from all these domestic terrorists?
Well, first off, they would have never got a toehold. But now that the damage is done, there'd be armored vehicles coming down with speakers. Either you clear out, you point a gun at us and shoot, and you will no longer be with us. And just come down the streets and clean them out. And everybody that they get out of there need to be held accountable. Our problem with lawlessness, Zeb, my opinion is, we have been so lax on holding people accountable for their actions.
I agree. You know, I do not understand why we're letting evil persist. We're letting evil grow like a cancer. And when all of a sudden somebody meets evil head on and smacks it in the nose, then the person that's trying to stop evil is the guilty party.
Exactly. And the silence from our politicians, both sides, against this should tell us everything we need to know come November, come election day.
Oh, you've hit the nail on the head. And I'm going to say right now, and I don't care one little bit if I offend anybody in the Republican Party. That's tough. You know, the Republicans have sat back like they're full of food after a big Sunday dinner on the back porch, and they're watching a great big mess out in their backyard, and they don't care because they're too lazy to get up and do anything about it or too afraid to stop it. And right now they've got all the opportunity to stand up and show that they're Joe Good Guy, and they're letting this problem get bigger and bigger.
Exactly. Exactly it. Like I say, their silence is deafening.
Absolutely.
It should tell every American who they are for and what they stand for. If they can't stand up and have a backbone to stand up against this, they do not have a backbone to represent us.
Amen. Doug, I got another call. And then I've got to do a commercial. So thank you, my dear friend. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you much. Appreciate it. Caller, real quick. I've only got a minute, and then I've got a commercial break I have to get in real fast. Go ahead. Caller, I'm talking to you. Please go ahead quickly. Cancel the call, please, if you would. Right now, it is time, if you're hungry and starving to death, don't forget our friends that you should stop in and see for lunch today. I'm talking about the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. Oh, my goodness, they got the kids' meals, the chicken nuggets and the small fry and the 12-ounce drink, and they've got corn dogs, they've got cheeseburgers. My favorite, the famous Farmer Brown burger with fries and sauce and a delicious shake of many, many, many flavors. All of this at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. You stop in and see those good folks today. Well, how about Taco Bandito? Oh, yeah, 2301 Overland in Burley. And social distancing, the lobby is about 50% open, and what a great place to go for your morning coffee. And with that, sink your grinners into a delicious breakfast burrito. Oh, scrambled eggs, bacon, and sausage. Combination of both is really tasty. Cheese, onions, tomatoes, and sauce on a tortilla shell. What a way to start the day. Fantabulous at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Let's not forget not one, but two locations of Burgers Etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. And my goodness, they've got all the fish and the shrimp and the halibut baskets, and they've got corn dogs and burritos. Listen to this. Corn dogs and burritos for just $1.29. Oh, they're good. And great, nice people at Burgers Etc. in Rupert and Burley. One more place to talk about, and that's Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Food made the way you love it. 3 tasty steaks, the most tender filet, or your favorite ribeye and tasty sirloin. All of this from the Double R Ranch for those great steaks. My goodness, the patio is open, weather permitting, at Steve-O's. And don't forget, too, it's a great place to go eat when you just don't want to cook. Nice people serving you at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn. And those are a few great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. Caller, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. That's all I've got. Real fast. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Seth, there's a culture now that we have, and I, for a long time, have complained about these college professors. And the whole thing is, they smoke dope with marijuana with these kids. They do all this stupid stuff. These kids see that. Basically, the bottom line is marijuana has moved the line of normal thinking one notch over. We're not used to the generation that has been raised with this drug.
I agree.
It just warps people. I know people that used drugs when they were young. Marijuana, I'm talking about. And they say, oh, it didn't hurt nothing, no. But they raise kids that think the way they do, and the professors think the same way, and it's changing our whole culture.
I agree with you.
Come up, you wait and see.
I agree with you. I've got to run. I hate to be rude to you, my dear friend, but I've got to cancel this call and go to the news from CBS. I'm flat out of time. I absolutely appreciate your remarks, and I respect you for them. Thank you so much. We're going to take a break for CBS News and come back, and we'll have Cassia County School Days at 10:06. Oh, good morning and welcome back. Zeb at the Ranch on a Thursday, June 11th, and glad to have you with us. Beautiful day. Enjoy the sunshine. And our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you in a safe, clean environment with the best in tires. Along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And, of course, our friends at Greystone Crossing Senior Living. And every single day on the program, we tell you about what a beautiful 12-bedroom home this is. Great place for senior living. You've got to take the tour. You've got to take the time to make an appointment to call Matt and Kelly Wiggins and find out more about living at Greystone Crossing. 3 wonderful meals a day, and of course snacks and housekeeping and local transportation. It's just a great big family attitude right there at Greystone Crossing. Independent senior living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Number to call, 650-4979. Again, 650-4979. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, also quickly, I want to remind you about 7K Metals and some real good friends of mine that helped us be introduced to silver purchases that can be sent right to our home. Absolutely. You can build yourself your own financial security and future, and kind of like your own security bank through silver purchases. Find out more about 7K Metals. Contact Lon Hardy at 312-8699 or Sharon Wilmot at 430-3259. Use my name. Tell them I told you to call, and they'll help you with all the information about a saving opportunity and a valued treasure for your loved ones in the future. 7K Metals. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and a lovely, lovely lady, the communications director, and she's got a whole list of titles, and she deserves every one of them. Debbie Critchfield, how are you?
I am doing well. It is very tired, an earned title of mine, I hope. Like everybody else, tired.
I think we're all tired, Debbie, and of course I'm very vocal about this. We have to reclaim common sense here in the state of Idaho, and for that matter, our nation.
I don't disagree with that. And I think in the context of schools opening up, that's how that's being approached. How do we return to school, get kids back into classrooms safely, teachers safely, but we need that student-teacher contact.
Debbie, let me, if I can, and you and I have been friends for a long, long time, let me be very blunt. To not even consider opening up the schools this fall, if we see another resurgence of the coronavirus, would be, I think, a devastating mistake. Younger children under the ages of 20, I'll say, are very, very limited in numbers as to getting this disease, this virus, and perpetrating the virus. And with those limited numbers, I think there could be a very good and efficient screening process of not only the students but also the teachers, because we have to get these schools open.
I think one of the mistakes, or one of the challenges that will compound our situation now, and not just locally but in the state, is to get into some kind of a scenario where it's rolling closures, where we're open for a couple of weeks and then it looks like we've got something, and then so we're closed for a few weeks, and then we try to open back up. And I believe that we need to approach the situation that we want to be in school, what measures need to be addressed to make sure that we can reasonably keep students safe, just like we would with regular protocols for the flu and some of those other things, and then start making decisions based on circumstances at individual schools. If somebody in North Idaho has got a spike, that should not automatically mean that schools here in Southern Idaho need to start closing. That we look at the circumstances, and not only within the region but in the district. It could be place to place.
I totally agree with that. We have a caller evidently with a comment or a question. Go ahead, caller, please. Quickly, you're on the line. Caller, speak to me. You're on the line. Evidently, the call's not there. Debbie, what's happening
with the second phone line?
All right, caller, go ahead, please. Evidently, they're not there. We've had trouble with these phone lines for the last couple of weeks, and it's really starting to fry me. Debbie, let's talk a little bit about what these kids have missed, and it really hurts me as a grandfather because I was looking forward to all the end of the high school years for my oldest grandson, and all of these kids suffered. All of these kids had to come up with new constructive ideas on how to say goodbye to their classmates and how to say goodbye to their schools. I commend all the students and the teachers, but yet it's not the right way to do things.
We definitely identified some gaps in teacher training when they go through their preparation programs in their colleges. There is little to no training on how to deliver virtually, unless that is the teaching platform that you're choosing. And so for traditional teachers, there's not a lot of experience as they're getting trained on how to be a teacher, on how to deliver those things. And so I think professional development is something that is being eyed on how do we help support teachers, even in a blended model, if we're partly physically in school and partly online, how we help support that. We also recognize that for many students that this is not their preferred learning platform. And it was difficult for families. And I think the shock of the transition so quickly that we kind of, for a little while, we're like, okay, we're going to get through this. But then as the weeks progressed and it didn't appear that we were going to get back into school before the calendar year was over, then there was another level of support that needed to happen to help students and to help families understand, here are the expectations. We understand these are very uncertain times. This is what we expect. This is how we can help you. And so these types of conversations are taking place as we review and see where we've had some gaps.
You know, Debbie, I will say this. Of course, you know that I'm very much, pardon me, into sports. And sports and athletics in high school is a very, very important part of a well-rounded education. And what happened at the end of the school year, starting back in March all the way through the end of the school term, these kids missed a lot. They lost a lot. They lost the camaraderie. They lost the fellowship. They lost the rah-rah to the team. This is all a part of education that I hope can come back in the fall.
Absolutely. And our coaches, as you can imagine, are anxious to get teams back together and in some regard have started that. They're similar to the staging with the state. There's been some phasing in of teams, of how to work that, get for summer basketball, get groups back into the gym. I know baseball teams are starting to get going, and there was a regional approach to athletics here in our region, but across the state, we're seeing people come together to solve these problems. And again, I keep using that word reasonable, and I think that's the key here, a reasonable approach. We want safety. We want to make sure that we protect people, but we also can't all stay in our homes for the rest of our lives. I mean, we've got to solve some of these issues and realize that there is going to be an element of risk, and we need to figure out how to reduce and minimize the risk.
You know, I can't even imagine, not being in your position or Dr. Shanks or anyone in education, what kind of a bungee cord effect this might be every day, not knowing about this or not knowing if this is going to have to be canceled or not knowing if you need to go ahead with this. I mean, it's just absolutely got to be mind-wrenching to try to figure out what you're going to do and how you're going to get it done.
I love your the metaphor, the bungee cord. That's very descriptive. Like everyone else, there's no playbook that we go and say, okay, well, last time this happened, this is how we did this. And we're all learning week to week, and it can be and feels overwhelming and frustrating at times, particularly when there seems to be contradictory information. We should do this, we shouldn't do this. And so we try to make decisions that don't swing too far one way or the other, and make the decisions based on what we know, get the right resources and information to make those, and then hope that it was the right thing at the time. And a lot of this we won't know until we look back later that, yeah, that was the right thing, or we should have done it like that.
Now, I'm just saying this out of my own supposition, so help me if I'm wrong, but you really can't call somebody in Pocatello, or you can't call somebody in Bonners Ferry, and you can't call somebody in Boise or Lewiston and kind of compare notes because every region is different, right?
Absolutely. And when we're talking about gaps and areas that we're learning, we've also learned around the state that there are degrees of differences between the health districts. And so someone in our region may have a conversation with someone at our health department in our health district that has a little bit of a different view or take, and so that has added to some of the confusion. And as we look to get into fall, these are some of the things we're looking to iron out. We need a level of uniformity on some things. I 100% believe in the local control of the local boards, if we're speaking directly about schools right now, that they need to use the information around them to make those decisions. And at the same time, for this uniformity, there needs to be some type of framework or guidance that can be applied to your local conditions.
You know, I've used this analogy on my program for the last couple of weeks regarding the corona scare and everything else connected to it. And I'll say this, and please correct me if you don't agree with it, but I think that right now we are too concerned about the what ifs instead of what is. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I think decision making is taking place in an environment of who is going to sue me. The liability issue is no small thing, and it's not just for school districts. I think it's across the board. And I believe that this is something that the state needs to address in some fashion. If school districts have the freedom, so to speak, to make the decisions that reflect the condition locally without fear that someone's going to come in and sue them, I think that you will see decisions that better meet needs and that aren't made in this in an environment of fear. But the liability issue, it's alive and well. It's a real thing.
You know, I don't mean to drag all the other problems of the United States right now, which there are many that have sprung up from the weeds in the last 3 months, more so than ever before in our culture. But education is the key from kindergarten all the way through the university system. And right now, it looks like we need a real strong education base, because here we have people that absolutely have no appreciation for the United States, its Constitution, or its values, and we've got to get back to the basics.
I'll never argue with you on a well-educated citizenry. That is the key to our success, not only here in our state or locally, but nationally. And no one wants to minimize how teachers can impact the lives of students. And to do that to the full extent means, for the most part, that we've got to get back into our schools. We've got to make sure that students have, when I say direct contact, now that term, it means something different. But we've got to have that human connection in that sense. For many students, that's the only way that they can be successful.
Let me ask you this final thought, Debbie, as far as when is the supposed underlined first day of school for the fall semester?
Our calendar still has us starting in August. July 15th is, I spoke with our superintendent, Dr. Shank, a day ago, and just ahead of this call, kind of thinking about, what could be asked. And the board is going to get together around July 15th and look at what our current conditions are. As of now, the plan is to get kids back to school. They're working through some of the operational and logistics of how to do that. But our board wants to return teachers and students safely, and around the 15th of July, they'll get together to talk about what kind of changes or adaptations may need to be made. Maybe they start a week later, or maybe there's some variables there that they're unsure of. But I can tell you confidently that the Cassia School Board would like to get students and teachers back to class.
Debbie Critchfield, Communications Director for the Cassia County School System, I thank you so much. You have always been a very straightforward lady with all the issues. God bless you, and thank you for being on Cassia County School Days.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
All right, Debbie. Thank you very, very much. Don't forget, every Monday at 10:30 during the summer months, we have the lovely Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens over in Paul, and she's going to tell you and help you about how your garden can grow and grow better and bigger. By golly, she does a great job, and don't forget, she's got everything for your gardening, your lawn, right there at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. The number to call, 438-5663. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and we're going to be talking to another guest on our show this morning, and they've got some big doings going on over at Patterson's Electronics at 421 East Main in Burley. And I believe we've got Curtis on the line. Good morning, Curtis. How are you?
Good timing.
Are you there, Curtis?
I am. Thanks for calling, Zeb.
Well, it's great to have you on the program. You know, you have done so much in the community with charity work, and I think first and foremost what I'd like you to do is explain what's going on at Patterson's Electronics and how two great charities are going to benefit from the people coming into your store. Tell us about that.
You know, what we've decided to do is last Christmas time, we had a charity event where we gave away $1,000 to some charities, and people were able to choose the charity of their choice. And we wanted to kind of bring it home a little more and enable some local charities to benefit instead of some national charities. We gave to Wounded Warrior and to another charity. And so what we've got is we've got about a half a dozen or so lists of, or not lists, but a half a dozen different charities in the Bertie Rupert area that we're going to go ahead and give another $500 to each one, and you just come in, make a small purchase or any size purchase between June 1st and the 15th of July, and then we're going to tally all the numbers and award the funds to the charities before the 22nd of July is the plan.
Okay. So they come into the store, and with their purchases, they name their favorite charity, and the top two, just to give a rough synopsis, the top two charities are going to get $500 each, right?
That's correct.
Wow. While we have you on the line, I want to talk to you about electronics. Now, you know from talking to me in the past, I am not your electronics guru. You are. Tell us about the wide-ranging amount of products and everything you have available at Patterson's Electronics.
Well, I appreciate that opportunity. Zeb, you know, one of the things we recently received, can you imagine having in your car or truck a 10-inch screen that will work with any of your like your Bluetooth or whatever you want to do? Well, we've got those stereos in stock. We have a wide variety of subwoofers and amps, so anything for car audio we can help people with. We've got some great prices on televisions and various mounts, so we can mount virtually a TV anywhere in someone's house. And, of course, if they want to get into multi-room audio, where you have music in multiple different rooms, we can help you there too. One thing that I'm doing for a customer in the area now is few customers, in fact, is that we're doing what we call matrix switches, where someone could watch a different source in up to 16 different rooms, or the same source in the 16 rooms at the same time, and have control and of the component, even though the component's in a centralized area.
Holy moly!
As far as camera systems, you know, we're going to be doing some of that as well for, you know, customers here in the near future. We've got the Ring doorbell system, if people are familiar with that, where you push the doorbell. That which we use is a professional series, which they get hardwired in. Excuse me, and then you don't have to worry about replacing batteries. And and of course, people that have the razors and those kind of products, we've got a couple different type of mounts so that they can take the sound that they want to have with them to listen to high quality music in their razor or side by side, and play that music off of their Bluetooth from their phone or whatever medium they have. So really a big variety of options right now.
Where in the world, or I should say how in the world, did you learn all about these different technologies with all the electronics that you sell? I mean, you must never go to bed. You must stay up and study all night long.
I do work a lot, I will say that. But, I got into the industry in 1983. And, as you grow and learn, add little by little every year, it's just amazing how, before you know it, you would accumulate a wide acumen of knowledge and information to help people resolve whatever their circumstances are. I had a customer in Twin Falls I was doing a system for, and he comes to me and says, well, now in this location, in this great room, he wanted to do, something different. I said, great, no problems, and did it. And he's kind of done that progressively over the years until now. As soon as I can get the product in time to install it, we'll put a matrix system in for him as well.
Oh, my goodness.
It's just, we strive to wire homes so that people have lots of options. And in the construction phase, or we be creative in going back ex post facto and doing systems later. One of the things I forgot to mention that we just got in, or Clips, one of the brands we carry, has a wireless speaker system, so you can have wireless speakers for surround sound in your home. The sound bar, a subwoofer, and then the two wireless speakers. So you don't have wires if you have an existing home, but you want some good sound.
Absolutely.
Lots of options at Patterson.
I'll tell you, folks, this man knows, and he is absolutely so well-versed in helping you on home theater systems, whether it's your car stereos, complete sound systems, everything, all your electronic needs at Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley, and you're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. Curtis, thank you for taking the time this morning to be on the program. God bless you, and come back soon.
Thank you, Zeb. Appreciate it, and have a good day. And please, people, remember to vote for your favorite charity.
Absolutely. Thanks, Curtis. Talk to you soon. Very nice man and a very interesting business. I wish I knew a lot more about it. Boy, he can go right into it and explain it and do a great job, too. Patterson's Electronics, Curtis over there on East Main and Burley. We're going to run right now to our main studio, and we'll be back in about 3 minutes with our next guest for the last segment of our program. Don't go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Oh, thank you very much. And before we go to our guest, I want to remind you about our friends over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Oh, my goodness, they've got everything for the beautification and the comfortization of your home. Whether it's the flooring or the carpet, or maybe you need a better night's sleep on a better mattress, they've got a lot of them for you. All the furniture. And let me tell you, for Daddy's Day, don't forget, take Dad by the hand, take him in there, and let him pick out his own recliner. Whoa, have they got a selection. Stop in and see them today. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. They're waiting right now to serve you. Right now, let's go to the phone line. Excuse me for that frog in my throat. It's been there during the beginning of the spring hay fever system. And right now, let's go to the phone line. And I'm going to mention this gentleman's name, and then he can correct me on the pronunciation. I'm going to say good morning to the CEO and co-founder of X Strategies, Alex Brusewitz. How are you? Is he there?
You there, Alex?
Evidently, our wonderful sister.
Can you hear me?
Alex, are you there this morning? Good. We've had a lot of problems with our phone lines this morning. Are you there?
Yes, sir, I am. And you pronounced my name correctly. That was amazing.
Well, thank you. Send your check or money order to Murtaugh, Idaho. Thank you.
Will do.
All right. Alex, tell me a little bit about X Strategies. What do you do?
Yeah, so we at X Strategies, we consult politicians, existing politicians in Congress, campaigns, and political organizations of all types, specifically conservatives, and we've been doing this about 4 years now.
When you say solve problems with campaigns, etc., I mean, tell us the nuts and bolts about what kind of problems you solve and how you are being invited, perhaps, to various campaigns to help out.
Yeah, so, keeping track of the ever-changing news cycle, and on top of that, and making sure that your voice breaks through in the very noisy world of politics, we kind of, work with campaigns to craft their messages and make sure that they stand out. And so we, stay on top of everything that's going on in the country and try to make sure that our candidates and our clients, their voices are heard.
Let me ask you this, Alex, in regards to Joe Biden. I mean, I am absolutely shocked. I'm an old man, and I've never seen a candidate for the presidency stay in the basement of his home, stay out of sight, only do certain and specific sound bites, and yet the news media tells me that Joe Biden is ahead of Donald Trump. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, honestly, the Democrats, what's so funny about it is that the Democrats want to keep Joe in the basement because when he speaks, he makes terrible, terrible gaffes and he makes a fool of himself in the party. But we saw this in 2016 with the suppression polls where the fake news is trying to make the president look bad, and they do it to the suppression polls where they only pull a certain sample of Republican voters. And Brad Parscale, the campaign manager, pointed that out recently. And the president hired a polling company to say, "Hey, look, these are fake polls. They're not accurate whatsoever." And we saw it in 2016. And Joe Biden posted today. He said, "Don't believe the polls," because he doesn't want what happened to Hillary happen to him, where all the polls show that they're winning, and then the Democrats stay home.
You bring up a point that I want you to elaborate on a little bit. Last week on Tuesday, I saw some polling that showed in some of the battleground states, like Michigan, for instance, that Joe Biden had a 14 to 16 point lead. And I'm sitting here going, how could he? Here's a man that hasn't done any campaigning. Here's a man that has had so many gaffes and faux pas that you can't believe a word he says. Here's a man that acts like he's on the verge of total senility, and he's winning?
Yeah, look, everybody like you said with a working brain, they look at those polls and they know that they're completely fake. And there's no credibility in the media anymore, and there's no credibility in the polling. And so, the people just look at these polls and they shake their heads and there's no way that this is accurate. And so, look, I'm actually okay with these polls showing that Joe Biden's ahead because it keeps the Republicans fired up. They're like, that's not true. And it might keep some Democrats, at home thinking, oh, we got this in the bag, and I'm not going to go out and vote because, he's up by 15 points.
When you look at this situation and you play with this and work with this every day, Alex, but President Trump absolutely had the tiger by the tail for the first 3 years of his presidency, even through all the adversity the Democrats were throwing at him. And we had the strongest economy back in February when I left to go to Arizona for a month. Everything was in Fat City. I mean, our economy, our stock market, everything looked great. And then in a matter of 3 months, with not only the pandemic, but then also the rioting and the burning and the looting, everything has fallen through the cracks. What can this president do right now to reestablish himself to the American people?
Well, I think he's, for all the adversity he's facing this year alone, I think he's handling it pretty well. One factor I look at is, if you look at all the other presidents when they got into office, and then within a couple of years, they look completely different. Look at President Trump. He looks the same, right? But, one thing that I think he can do, one thing the country needs to do is get back to work. And you saw the jobs report numbers this last, for this last month where we added 2.5 million more jobs. And we're going to continue to see people go back to work because
the pandemic scare is kind of ending, and we're onto the new, the new news cycle, and that is the rioting and the race relations. But we just need to get people back to work because, when everybody's working, everybody's happy, making money. And the president, like you said, he built the strongest economy our country has ever seen. We had lowest unemployment rate all across the board for every ethnic group in America, from African Americans to Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans. The economy was working for everybody, and I think that's what we need to get back to. And I think we will get there, especially by November. I think we're going to have the strongest economy. We had 10,000 at the NASDAQ for the first time in history. We have the stock market back to the highest point it's been. So the economy's coming back, and that's what people care about. People care about money in their pocket, and the president delivered on that biggest promise he made.
Let me ask you this, and it all pertains, and Sean, I know you're doing the best we can with the burned-out system over there, but if you could ride that gain on the feedback, I'd appreciate it. Let me ask you this question. In the last 3 months, we have seen the Democratic Party, I think, do all they can to create and stimulate evil in this country against Donald Trump. I mean, the cork's out of the bottle, and anything that comes out, they don't care. The situation we're in right now, Alex, with the burning and the looting and the taking over of downtown Seattle by the Black Lives Matter and Antifa, how are we going to stop all this and change it to get back to some sense of normalcy?
Yeah, I think the president is right, and he says we need law and order, and we absolutely do. And your point about the Democrats sowing evil across the country, that's what they're doing. I mean, you saw in Tampa, Florida, during coronavirus, they arrested a pastor, right? Now they're arresting our pastors, they're closing our churches, and now they're letting our churches burn. St. John's Church, the historic church in Washington, D.C., they let Antifa light it on fire, and they arrested the pastor for preaching, but they let the burners go, the arsonists go. And so they are sowing evil. I think it's a war on Christians, a lot of it. But the president needs to restore law and order in our country. I think he will. And I tweeted this morning that the situation in Seattle reminds me of when I was 6 years old and I built forts with blankets and chairs, and we wouldn't let our parents inside. And so it reminds me of these 20 to 30-year-old Antifa members who are closing down 6 blocks of Seattle and saying, we won't let authority in. It's just a bunch of 20 to 30-year-olds with arrested maturity throwing a giant temper tantrum in their little fort.
But here's the problem as I see it. Our culture right now is afraid to do anything. We're afraid to reprimand and straighten out all the ills of our culture because somebody might get slapped in the face. If we let this go and we let this fester like a cancer, it's not just going to be Seattle, it's going to be LA, it's going to be Chicago, it's going to be Salt Lake City, it's going to be Boise, it's going to be all across the country, and it's going to grow and fester to where we can never stop it. It has to be nipped in the bud, and quite frankly, somebody is going to have to pay the piper.
Yeah, 100%. And look, I think the president today is going to comment on the situation at hand with regards to policing in this country. Nobody supports the law enforcement more than President Trump, but he also was victim to bad cops. You had bad cops at the FBI trying to take him down, with the Mueller investigation and so on and so on. And so he recognizes that there are some bad cops at every level of law enforcement, and we got to get rid of them, from local police to the FBI. And we're going to get rid of them. I think the president's going to make that a priority from now until Election Day to get rid of bad cops. But he also supports law and order in this country. And he's going to take back our cities because the Democrats, they can't do it. They've proven themselves incompetent everywhere across the country. I think these riots, for the most part, could have been nipped in the bud at the beginning had Governor Walz of Minnesota not been a complete and utter idiot and taken action and arrest the police officer in day one instead of letting it go to day 4 and let riots, follow. And so it's just sheer incompetence in these Democrat-run cities, and they're not going to take control. And so the president is ultimately going to have to do so, and we got to take our cities back. Can't let, like the president says, we need to dominate the streets.
You know, Alex, you're closer to this situation being on the East Coast than I am, and your knowledge is really appreciated here. But when you talk about Black Lives Matter, a group and organization that was started under Marxist principles, and you talk about Antifa that believes in no law and a lot of armed confrontation, how are we going to stop this? I mean, what are we going to do as a society? Because like I said a moment ago, it can creep up and crop up anywhere. What are we going to do to stop this, or is there an answer?
Yeah, look, I think that with Black Lives Matter in regards to them, they were founded in 2013 under the Obama administration. So these riots aren't new. As you know, you saw these riots after Eric Garner. You saw these riots after Freddie Gray and Sandra Bland. So these riots aren't new. Black Lives Matter is not new. And I think this new group, Antifa, has definitely amplified these riots and made them a lot worse. And the president was right to declare them domestic terrorists. And what we got to do is we need to arrest these thugs. We need to use the National Guard, allow the police officers to do their jobs. Don't be afraid. Don't handcuff our good police officers who are there to protect the businesses, protect the citizens that aren't rioting, and we need to take back the streets. So we need to use law and order and, allow our police officers and National Guards to do our job and get rid of these thugs.
I wanted to ask you a little bit, Alex, if I could, about this cancel culture that's going on. The canceling of Gone with the Wind, one of the greatest movies ever made of all times. This cancellation of Christopher Columbus statues. The cancellation and destruction of, down in Dallas, Texas, a statue depicting the heroic Texas Rangers. Books that are being canceled, and then you have National Public Radio coming out yesterday and saying that all of us are responsible to go to our bookshelves and look at our books, and if we see anything that's racially wrong, we should throw and burn the books. What kind of a society is this becoming?
It's becoming a very dangerous society. That's what it's becoming. You pointed out Gone with the Wind as the first example, because there was some racism in the movie. But Hattie McDaniel was the first African American Oscar winner, and she starred in that movie. First African American Oscar winner is it's not being taken out of history. And so this cancel culture is becoming incredibly dangerous. They're doing movies and TV shows, and next it's going to come books. They're going to start burning books in the streets, and that's what the Nazis did, and that's what's going to come next unless we take back our country. But there's an ideological, battle right now between good and evil, and the Democratic Party, quite frankly, has been hijacked by a bunch of radical leftists who are now running the show. AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Bernie Sanders, these radical socialists who love Marx and Marxism, they're now running the Democratic Party. And as a country, we need to fully reject them. We did in 2016 when we rejected Hillary Clinton, and we need to come out this year and reject the socialism and their dangerous ideology like never before. We need to say this is not what we do in America. But once we start burning our books, and Bibles will probably be included, that's when we have a really big problem in this country.
Alex, one final thought here this morning is, and it's not just the Democrats, I absolutely would like to have a wet rag and slap the face of every Republican senator and congressman, because they are a do-nothing bunch of cowards as far as I'm concerned. They have a time right now to stand up and be counted for this country, and they're not doing their job.
You're spot on, Zeb, and that's a real shame. We've had a great opportunity the last 3.5 years with President Trump in office to do some great things. And when we had Paul Ryan as the Speaker of the House, he was an obstructionist. He was almost as bad as Nancy Pelosi. And you're right. Right now, our Senate, we're not doing much. Lindsey Graham's doing these photo op hearings. They're a year too late. They should have fought for the president when they had the chance, and I think a lot of them are going to pay the price this November. I think we're going to see a lot of change in the Senate, and we're going to see a lot of change in the House, and we got to get some people in there with some guts. The Democrats, they stick together and they fight together, and we Republicans don't play by the same rules, and that needs to start changing, or everything that we love in our country is going to vanish, because we need people who support conservative values and are willing to fight for conservative values, and we don't have enough of that right now in Washington.
You know, and to expand on that just for a little bit here, Alex, it's basically goes back to you and I, and it goes back to our families, and it goes back to our moms and dads, and it goes back to our kids. All of us are responsible for the treatment that we're getting from the Republicans and the Democrats, because quite frankly, I don't think we're grabbing them by the short end of the necktie and cinching it up until they turn red and then getting our attention of what we want. We're not telling them what to do.
Yeah, and we're not. And social media, I mean, there's a lot of outcries on social media about the do-nothing Republicans, but unfortunately social media doesn't turn it into, fully turn into action. And so, you know, there's a lot of pressure on Lindsey Graham. Do something, Lindsey, do something. You're the only person in power to subpoena. With the power to subpoena, why aren't you doing something? And now down the line, when nobody's paying attention, all of a sudden he's doing these hearings now. What we need is some competent, capable people in positions of power that will work with us, that will fight for us, everything that we do, and we don't have that at the moment. We have, Lindsey Graham is the prime example of the do-nothing Republicans that we have, and it's time that either he gets out or he gets replaced in his position of power. But we have some great freshman senators. You look at Senator Rick Scott from Florida. He's a mover and a shaker. He fights with the president. You have Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri. You know, our new wave senators and this freshman class, upcoming congressmen that are going to win some deep red districts this year. There's going to be a lot of firebrands coming to Congress and ready to fight. But there's still a lot of establishment do-nothing hacks that are taking up some of our most powerful seats at the moment, and they're doing our country and our party a disservice.
Absolutely. I want to say a big thank you to this man for coming on my program, the CEO of X Strategies, Alex Brusewitz, and God bless you, man, and I'm going to put you down on my A list to come back in the future and talk to us again. Alex, God bless you. Thank you much.
God bless you too, Zeb. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Boy, I tell you, this morning, it's like an echo chamber. I'm having a hard time hearing some of our guests, and poor old Sean over there is doing all he can. I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, right now we're going to go to the weather, but before I go to the weather, I want to remind you about a great place to eat, and that's Edith's Cafe, and they're located at 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. Wow. I mean, that's the word to describe Edith's Cafe. Wow, what great food. I mean, you stop in, pick up the menu, and look at my favorite is, of course, the steak sandwich and regular fry, and then you look to all the dinner specials, and then you look at all the steaks, and you look at the desserts, peach cobbler a la mode, all of this and more at Edith's Cafe. I urge you to go over to Edith's. Business is back to normal, and construction in the front of the restaurant is almost complete. Enjoy. Edith's Cafe, 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. The number to call, 878-2248. Right now, it's time to go to the weather. And the weather brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Hello, Don Scarrow. I got to get Don over here on the program. And then hopefully he'll bring some more bratwurst with him when he comes. Did you hear that, Don? Thank you very much. Don't forget Scarro's Meats at 331 North Road, Jerome. Go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com, and check out all the delicious meats. My, from the pork ribs to the hams. Oh, my goodness, they've got hams galore, and they've got all flavors of bacon and pork chops and tri-tips, everything at Scarrow's Meats. 324-7657, the number to call. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Warmer temperatures for today and tomorrow, then cooling off by the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Expecting sunny skies for today. Winds are going to be picking up out of the east-northeast at about 10 miles an hour. Could gust as high as 20 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 87 tonight, nice and clear with a low of 56. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. It's going to be the warmest day, high of 91. Mostly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 54. Cooling down for Saturday, still mostly sunny skies. Winds are going to be out of the west, gusts as high as 24 miles an hour with a high of 71. Then by Sunday, 20% chance of showers in the morning, partly sunny by the afternoon, only looking at a high of 64. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Well, one day the temperature's up, and the next day the temperature goes down, and all the fluctuations of Idaho weather. Weather forecast brought to you by Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. That telephone number again, 324-7657. And it's true, they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time at Scarrow's Meats. Holy cow, let's see. Next week on the program, I wanted to highlight what's going on Monday, and we have, we've got some heavy hitters coming on the air. We're scheduled to have attorney from Los Angeles, James Herson. You've probably seen him on a lot of the network talk shows. He's going to be on the program. We've got Rick Manning, and nobody talks about what really is going on like Rick Manning. He's going to be on at 9:06. Lots of good folks, and we urge you to tune in. Zeb at the Ranch, 8:06 till 11, Monday through Thursday, right here on K-Bar, 1230 a.m. And then also I want to tell you folks, to tell your friends and neighbors, our internet audience has grown in leaps and bounds. All you need to do is go to zebbell.com, click on the audio buttons and everything. You can even watch it. We've got cameras right here in the studio. You can see it on the internet while the show's going on. You can see me knocking over water glasses and papers and everything else, and all of that on zebbell.com. Don't forget, we appreciate it. I'm going to ask Sean a little bit of leeway here because I've got some people that just pulled in the yard that I haven't seen for a long, long time, and I'm going to see if we can't play an extra tune, and I'm going to waltz on out of here for a second or two early, and I'm going to say the way things were are the way things ought to be, and the four words that mean the most to us are in God we trust. Hope we have the equipment all straightened out for next Monday. Thanks, Sean, for all you do on the board. And we'll be back here Monday next week at 8:06. Zeb at the Ranch, you have a great day and a fine, fun weekend.